My name is Sue Jordan, and we're at Pheasant Run Restaurant in Hays, Kansas. My mother-in-law, Rose Jordan, started the restaurant. It was actually closed at the time, and it was called Pancake Inn. And she just always kind of loved the restaurant business and worked at a restaurant most of her life. And so she just kind of talked to the landlord and said, can we work something out to start the, I'd like to open the restaurant. And so they did, and she came in and cleaned the whole place up. It had been closed for a few months and opened in September of 1982. She did it for 9 years, and she was kind of thinking, they would like to move to Arizona was the whole idea, and they kind of like to retire. And so one summer, I had the summer off because I used to work for the school district, so I had the summer off. She said, why don't you come in and see how you'd like the restaurant and just work for me this summer. And so I came in and I worked in the kitchen, and because I always cooked a lot and just made things from scratch. And so I worked for her that summer, and August 1st she said, how would you take it over? And so August 1st of 1991 I took it over, and I've been here ever since. And so this is almost my 25th year. Well, it'll be August 1st, it'll be 25 years I've been here and going. Went really fast. Sometimes when you make pie dough or other kinds of dough, you can't mess with them very much. But biscuit dough is, just have at it.
Teachers today are finding new ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable.
And then I could show you how I mix them and cut them and put them in the pan, and then I could have one already baked off. How's that?
That sounds great.
I mean, that way you don't have to, they do that on TV, so.
Yeah, they do that.
Rachel Ray, she brings out one thing already made, so.
Yeah, let's do that.
Everybody, we're here at Pheasant Run, and I'm going to make some biscuits and gravy today. So I start out with, and I have 8 cups of flour, and I use margarine and a whole pound, and I've kind of softened it so it's kind of mushy. Okay, to the flour I add 4 tablespoons of baking soda and about a teaspoon of salt and about a teaspoon of sugar. And then you mix it. And you want it to be kind of flaky, so you want everything incorporated really good. So it doesn't take very long when your margarine is soft. Sometimes I just have to grab one out of the refrigerator. It takes a little bit longer. And that's pretty good. You kind of want it flaky, like so the butter is, or margarine is incorporated pretty good. Then I do I add 3 cups of milk measured out. And then you just mix this all together, and then you get kind of a dough. This was my mother-in-law's recipe, so we've had it for a long time. She was the one that started this restaurant, and her recipes are so good, and we still use them all. So if you looked at my recipe book, my box is everything is worn so badly. And these plastic gloves are just wonderful. You have to fight with them. But I got the dough, I got it pretty good here. I got it all incorporated really good. And so then I take it and I push the bowl over there, and I take some flour on the top of the table, and all you do is mash them down. Biscuits are pretty simple. And then I take a glass and you put it in the flour, kind of coat it a little bit so they don't stick, and just punch away. Very easy. The longest part is just baking them off. It takes about 45 minutes to bake them off, so that's, but as far as making them, very easy. And then after you get the first one's done, you just squish it back all together and you make some more. That's what's so great about biscuit dough. You don't have, you know, sometimes when you make pie dough or other kinds of dough, you can't mess with them very much. But biscuit dough is, just have at it. Okay, we're about to the end here, maybe one more time. Sometimes, if the last one's too big, then I just add it on to some of the rest of them. This one might be a little bit big, so I'm gonna put a little bit in there. There you go. That's all set, ready to bake, and bake them for about 45 minutes. And I have some already done. I'm like TV. This is, put those in, you grab these out, and they're all done. Okay, now what do we do? Okay, I have my trusty old iron skillet here. I don't know if anyone has any of those anymore, but that's probably, well, I wouldn't want to say same age as me, but it's been around a long time. And I take a pound of sausage, this pork sausage, kind of squish it up a little bit. We're gonna brown it up. Sausage doesn't always make enough, grease, as we say. So just gotta, I don't know exactly how much I put in there. I just kind of grab. Just let her cook up. It's like my mom used to do. Just watch out, they'll get popped on. I wanted to make biscuits and gravy. I know it kind of sounds maybe simple, but we sell a lot of biscuits and gravy, and we make them ourselves. So, and not very many places do that anymore, because, you know, my distributors, you can buy already made biscuits, you can buy already made gravy, and we just like to do it from scratch. Tastes better, I think. Maybe not as easy, but we sure do a lot of biscuits and gravy. See, I got the sausage pretty much cooked up a little bit longer. I just kind of flake it, but you want to make sure you get it all good done, get all the pink out of it. I think I'm going to add a little bit more shortening. Because you have to put flour in it, so when the flour is the thickening, so you got to have enough shortening that you can make a roux. Hey, this is working out pretty good. That flame is hot, hot. Let me turn it down just a little bit. But see how it's all the red's going away, so it's coming along really good. Looks pretty good to me. This sausage has a little bit, it's a breakfast sausage. It's got little spices in it, and it's got a little sage. So. Hey, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to get one of my big old spoons out, and I take about 5 tablespoons of flour. Actually, these are probably bigger than a normal tablespoon, but that's what I call it. I don't think my mother owned any measuring spoons, so we just always grab a big old spoon and go from there. And you kind of stir this, incorporate it, and just so it's sort of makes its roux. And that way, when you pour the milk in there, then it'll get thick. But I always let it cook just a little bit. It just sort of helps the flour brown a little bit, and then you don't have a kind of a pasty taste. Smells pretty good. Now I got some, and I always use whole milk. I just have for years, and whole milk makes great gravy, makes better, I make my own pie, a pudding, like vanilla pudding, and it just makes a richer, rather than like 2%. So I buy whole milk. And then you just kind of stir, just keeping it from kind of sticking on the bottom. You get all the good crunchy stuff off the bottom too. And just stir, and I will salt and pepper it. And then you just kind of wait for it to start thickening. And if you need more milk, you put more milk in it. A lot of pepper. Well, and I like a lot of salt, which is not a good thing. And I always wait, and I taste it before I'm done, because you can always add more salt and pepper. You can't take it out, so just this is kind of the slow process. Just kind of taste it a little bit. Good cooks have to taste. If you don't taste something, I don't know how anybody cooks anything. So even if I don't care for what I'm making, I always taste, and I know how it's supposed to taste. And so I'm not a pumpkin pie fan, but I love making them. Then I always taste them, and I know what they're supposed to taste like, but I don't eat them. I don't know. That's not one of my favorite things. Love cherry pie. See, it's starting to cook around the edges a little bit. My mom always told me, you wait till the frog eyes come bubbling up, and that's when you pretty much know you got her made. It's starting to get thick now. I like to make biscuits and gravy for supper too. It's not necessarily for me a breakfast thing. Oh boy, now see, it's getting thick. See, and I think it needs a little more milk. Just a little bit. Just comfort food, I guess that's what you call it. See, that's much better. Not quite as thick. Starting to bubble a little bit. I like to take my biscuit, put the gravy over it, and then fry an egg and put it on top of the whole schmear. Starting to see the frog eyes? There they go. And it's done. Pretty good texture, and I didn't slop up the stove. Usually I have it all over the stove. Oh, I spoke too soon. There you go. Okay. There's my gravy.
That was awesome.
Okay.
That was like one of the best things.
Look and see your grandma standing at the stove cooking, huh? And then I just take a little bit of coconut, sprinkle it on the top, and then you put it in the oven for about 15 minutes, and there you go.
I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
I've eaten many places while I've been in Hayes. This is the best one. They treat me well, the prices are right, and the food is home cooked. What else could a person want?
We have worked really hard as a family together. Back 15 years ago, my daughter-in-law was diagnosed with leukemia, and she had a bone marrow transplant, and which went fine, but then her lungs, about a year later, her lungs were attacked from inside because of trying to, I can't remember what the words are, but combat the transplant. You know, sometimes they don't want to work out with your body. And so this is my 5 grandchildren's mom. And, you know, we just all worked together still. I took care of the kids, and I run the restaurant. My son took care of his wife. At the time, my son worked here because he was going to college at the time. And, you know, we just all worked together. It was wonderful. You know, it was hard, and she did survive, and she still survived today. She got to see her kids grow up, and she's got 2 grandchildren, so it was really great. Okay, I'm gonna make a coconut cream pie. This is probably, a lot of people ask me what the best seller is pie, and I would guess probably this one is the best seller. So I'm gonna make the pudding first, and you have to separate the eggs. And sometimes I don't do this so good. You don't want to get any yolk in the whites, because if you do, they won't whip and make meringue. And let's hope I can get through this without doing one. And then you just set the whites aside, because the meringue you do at the last. So I just put it under the, I have to whip it in here. So, okay, get rid of these. use, I got 5 egg yolks in there, and then I use 2 cups of milk. And this is just a regular old vanilla pudding. And then I had to have about 2/3 cup of flour. But I use a little under. I've made these so many times over the years, I know not to use a whole 2/3. Pudding is one of these things that you have to stay with it. You can't just go away and leave it, because then you have burnt pudding, in which I've done. It doesn't take too long, but you have to wait till it starts thickening up. Don't necessarily need to whip it really hard, but you just gotta kind of keep it from sticking on the bottom. And once it starts thickening, it goes really quick. I know lots of people just use, instant or whatever, but really making pudding is really simple. And it tastes really good. I already browned off the crust. We make our own pie crust, and we use lard. And I always make a big old ball of it and keep it in the walk-in. And it works lots better when it rests, and then you can just go back there and grab you a hunk and roll it out for an individual pie. So you see it's starting to coat on the side, so it's starting to thicken a little bit. But I roll out a pie crust. I usually take about, for a cream pie, you always bake the crust off first. For a fruit pie, you don't. You just put your filling in and bake the whole thing together. So, it's starting to get, I can feel it. And you gotta keep whipping too to make sure it's smooth too, because it'll clump up on you. Then you won't have a nice creamy pudding. And don't have to cook it very long. See, it's all nice and looks like pudding. Okay. I put a little cream in this after you get the pudding cooked. This is just heavy whipping cream. Just a little bit. Any cream pie, I start out with a vanilla pudding. And like if I want to make a chocolate, then I mix up, I add chocolate to it. If I want to make pineapple cream, then you add pineapple to it instead of the coconut. But all of them start out with the eggs, and just like I just did. I'm going to put a cap full of vanilla in there. Okay, and I just need a tad of margarine. So I got that in here. Sorry, isn't this terrible? I just want like a tablespoon. Okay, I just put a couple of handfuls of coconut in there. And then I just kind of fold it in. And there's our coconut pudding. And then I put it in the pie crust. The next fun thing is making the meringue. Should have seen this one. Well, I think it was one Thanksgiving. It's been a few years back. We did 54 pies in one day. Oh, that was a mess. I would never do that again. That was too hard. Okay, there's that. Okay, I have to I have to put some vanilla in here. Whatever I did with the vanilla. Ah, yes. See, I always put everything back where it belongs when I'm cooking in the daytime. But see, I just put a little drizzle of vanilla in the egg whites. And then I use some cream and tartar. And I just put a little bit in my, I would say about a teaspoon. And then you just get a little dab of water. Just a dab. If I can get it on here properly. Now, we've been having trouble with this machinery. Hey, it's working. The switch has been not working so good for us. And you let the egg whites and that mixture just start, and you let it start foaming and getting together. And then in this bowl, I have 5 teaspoons of sugar, and I have a little cornstarch, just like a little pinch. So see, they're starting to foam. And you just kind of get it all over your camera, but and you just kind of let it, so you get some peaks. Gotta go a little bit. It's like watching paint dry, huh? Let's see what we got here. Yeah, see? And you just kind of peek it and make it look pretty, I guess is the word. Sometimes I can get it really high. It was not too high today, but and then I just take a little bit of coconut, sprinkle it on the top, and then you put it in the oven for about 15 minutes, and there you go. Coconut cream pie. I've enjoyed it. I wouldn't have been here for 25 years if I hadn't enjoyed it. And you know, we're family owned and operated, and so I really got to have some good times with my children and my grandchildren, and that's, you know, great. I mean, yeah, and the people, oh man, you know, I've lost a lot of good customers that's passed away over the years, and I just, it's just been great. I wouldn't change it for the world. My husband keeps saying I should retire, and you know, I don't work as much because my youngest son is taking over. He's gonna hopefully, you know, do what I did for maybe another 20 years, but I just like it a lot. You know, like I said, my husband, he just keeps saying, you know, you need to slow down, and you know, I'm 69 years old and need to, you know, and I have slowed down, and that, and but I still I love it, and you know.